In 1774, the British closed Boston Harbor. There was as much anger in Charleston, South Carolina, as in Boston. The people of Boston appealed to the other colonies for aid. The sympathetic response was as widespread as the continental settlements. The Virginia Assembly appointed a day of fasting, and the people of Virginia sent food and money, 9,000 bushels of wheat and corn, and from South Carolina came cargoes of rice. 190 years later, 1964, the National Council of Churches and other devotees of brotherhood and equality sponsored a small group of professional pro-communist agitators to lead an invasion of the state of Mississippi. The invaders are largely sophomoric adolescents, some of whom are mature enough to grow beards. The federal government, taking no official notice of racial hatred which almost daily brings savage attacks, rape, and murder to the streets and private homes of northern cities, converted even a hint of violence by Mississippi whites into a national crisis. And what of patriots outside the South? Well, they understand and deplore the hypocrisy of such a double standard. But many are still uncertain about the merits of the patriots' cause in Mississippi. Let me ask you a question. Can the 25% of the people who pay practically all taxes in Mississippi survive if the 75% who pay little or no tax control the ballot and vote benefits for themselves which the minority must pay? Yes, there is prejudice in Mississippi, just as there is in Texas and in every other place where human beings exist. But I sincerely believe that it will take more than one summer of effort by the National Council of Churches, Lyndon Johnson, and Robert Kennedy to create in Mississippi as much racial hatred, violence, and unrest as already exists in New York City. My friends, it isn't often that a Southerner gets a chance to say this to a New England audience, so I want to say it. You're not damn Yankees at all, are you? Between 1865 and 1954, the American Negro in our southern states made more progress than the black man had ever made anywhere else in the entire history of the human race. This progress is a high credit to the Negro himself, but it could not have been made without the help of Southern whites. The monumental job thrust upon Southern whites in 1865 could be completed only after the passage of many, many generations. It was being done, slowly but surely, safely and peacefully, and within the bounds of constitutional government. Let's don't forget that slavery was a sin, a national sin. What the South used for its peculiar economy, New England and British slave traders provided. And after the war between the states, there was no aid from Washington for the defeated and ravished South, which staggered to its feet carrying the double burden of providing for a dependent people which the North had freed but did not feed, while suffering under the iron fist of an occupation reconstruction army. Presidents of the United States are periodically seized with a compulsion to send the armed forces in a southerly direction. May I, as one Southerner, suggest that the cause of freedom might be served if the armed forces went a little further south, say to Cuba?
My Friday night date wore a jacket that was so fancy it looked like a girl's. The guy who took me out Saturday wore a shirt with a ruffled collar and cuffs. I thought it was his mother's. The pants are getting tighter, the hair longer, and clothes fancier. Do boys want to be girls or what? Please tell me. I'm beginning to wonder what all this means.